Okay, welcome to the deep dive.
Hi there.
This is where we dig into complex research, try to strip out the jargon, and really give you those concentrated insights you need.
Yeah.
To upgrade how you understand things, how you approach life.
Yeah, get right to the core of it.
Exactly. And today, we've got a really critical mission. We're unpacking a whole stack of sources that look at time in a pretty different way. Not just something ticking on the clock, but as the actual non-renewable, invisible currency of success.
And this dive, it really matters. It matters profoundly because, these sources, they keep highlighting this fundamental truth. Time is the great equalizer.
It really is, isn't it?
Think about it. Wealth, status, access, all that stuff varies wildly.
Right.
But rich or poor, young or old, powerful or powerless, every single person gets exactly 24 hours a day.
Same amount for everyone, no exceptions.
It's the one resource we all possess in precisely equal measure.
And yet, that's where the huge difference comes in. It functions as the great differentiator.
Well,
That gap between someone achieving amazing success and someone who just feels stuck. It often boils down to those tiny moment-by-moment choices within those, 4,440 minutes?
Every minute counts.
We hear it all the time. People say, I just don't have time. But the core truth, the thing our research really pulls out, is that success is never about having time.
No.
It's always about making time. It's an act of will, isn't it? Not just waiting for it to appear.
Precisely. And we have to urgently shift how we see it. Stop thinking of time as this endless river just flowing by.
Yeah.
And start seeing it as capital, as an investment. You are the sole shareholder in this bank of minutes.
I like that bank of minutes.
Every morning you choose. How do you invest this non-renewable currency? Just like you'd allocate money in a financial portfolio.
Yeah, with one massive difference.
The critical difference.
Yeah.
The finality. Once time is spent, once that minute ticks by, it's gone.
Irrevocably gone.
Forever.
Yeah.
Unlike money, you can never earn it back. You can't borrow it. You can't print more. That's it.
Wow. That finality, that weight, knowing every low-value choice has this permanent opportunity cost. It really shines a harsh light on, say, a wasted hour, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
If I spend an hour just scrolling mindlessly, I haven't just lost 60 minutes. I've lost the possibility of those 60 minutes invested in my future self.
That's the real cost.
Okay, so let's unpack that first big shift we need to make to honor this currency. Starting with this cultural delusion that keeps so many of us just running in place. The illusion of busyness.
Yeah, this is a big one. Chapter 2 in our material really hammers the whole psychological and societal thing around busyness. What's fascinating and honestly deeply problematic is how being busy went from just, describing your schedule
To being a status symbol.
Exactly. It's become this badge of honor in modern society.
We totally wear it like that, don't we? That exhaustion, being overwhelmed, it's like a medal. I'm so busy. Means I'm so important.
We signal our value by how much stress we claim to be under.
But the sources are basically saying this is a massive trap.
It's a profound self-delusion. Because the secret successful people really get, deep down, is simple. Being busy does not equate to being productive. Not even close.
Activity doesn't equal achievement.
Right. Learners often fall into this trap, confusing effort with results. They think, well, I'm running hard, putting in long hours, I must be moving forward.
So what does this busy work actually look like day to day? How do we spot these behaviors the sources call noise?
Well, the noise isn't always just, putting things off. It's actively filling time with low-impact stuff, often things that feel semi-productive.
Like what?
We're talking about that reflex check of messages every 5 minutes. Attending meetings you don't really need to be in just because you got the invite.
Oh yeah, the meeting vortex.
Shuffling papers, maybe reorganizing digital files that aren't high priority, or doing what feels like productive admin work that, honestly, if you just stopped doing it,
It wouldn't make any difference to the big goals.
zero impact on the long-term goals. None.
And the sources say people do this, they fill their days with this noise because it feels good, right? It gives a sense of control, a little dopamine hit without needing that deep, hard focus.
Exactly. It feels good to clear an inbox even if none of those emails really mattered that much.
It's movement, but no real momentum.
Precisely. And the result? It's emotionally draining, cognitively draining. You end the day utterly tired, physically, mentally just wiped from constant context switching, reacting.
But you feel unsatisfied, deeply unsatisfying.
Because you've only performed motion. You've mistaken being a highly active responder for being a proactive creator.
Okay, so if the busy person is just reacting, stuck on that treadmill of noise, how does the successful, productive person operate differently? What's the fundamental contrast?
It all hinges on impact. The busy person is asking, how can I possibly get all these things done?
The overwhelm question.
Right. The productive person cuts through that noise. They dictate their focus by asking a really clarifying question. What's the one thing I can do today that will move me demonstrably closer to my most significant goal?
Just one thing. That's a leverage question, not just an activity list.
It is. And it's a fundamental difference. It shifts your whole sense of self-worth away from, I'm important because everyone needs me for everything, towards,
I'm effective because I choose what really matters.
they're not just filling time until 5 p.m., they are shaping it actively.
How do they do that?
They treat their hours like a non-negotiable resource, dedicated to purpose. This is where intentionality is key. They commit blocks of time to their main priorities first.
Before anything else gets in.
Before anything else. Only then do they allow that leftover residual time for the low-impact noise, if at all.
So they decide the structure. They put up the boundaries. The busy person is running around reacting to urgency, whatever just popped up.
Always the latest signal.
But the productive person operates under this principle of constraint. They intentionally limit what gets their time. And that kind of shaping, that requires a really clear-eyed strategy, which I guess brings us neatly to the bedrock principle for guiding high-impact work.
Yes. The foundational strategy here, it's got to be the 80-20 principle, the Pareto principle.
Ah, yes, 80-20. It sounds simple, but it's kind of radical when you actually apply it to time.
It's deceptively simple, but yeah, radically transformative.
So for anyone not familiar, basically it says that roughly 80% of your results, your outputs, come from only about 20% of your inputs, your actions.
An unbalanced distribution, effort and reward are rarely equal.
And our sources really emphasize this isn't just some business theory. It pops up everywhere.
It absolutely does. The sources give some fantastic examples, really highlight how pervasive it is. Think about, say, your personal relationships.
Okay.
Chances are 20% of the people you know bring you, like 80% of your emotional support, your fulfillment.
The ring's true.
Or health. Maybe 20% of your habits, like daily exercise, what you eat probably determine 80% of your long-term wellness.
Wow. The implication is staggering, really. Most of our effort, most of our time is yielding almost negligible results.
That's it. Most people are spending 4/5, 80% of their most precious, non-renewable currency.
On stuff that barely moves the needle.
Right. So the challenge isn't just knowing the 80-20 rule, it's having the discipline to actually act on it.
Okay, so how do we do that? What does it look like in practice? How do you identify your high-value top 20%?
It takes an audit. You have to stop guessing and start tracking, honestly. Where does your time actually go?
Get real about it.
Get real. The 20% activities, they're the ones that are usually irreplaceable things only you can do. They're non-delegatable, and they directly contribute to your big strategic long-term goals.
You give an example.
Sure. For a writer, it's probably the actual writing, not the endless social media promotion, but the deep work of writing.
Okay.
For a business leader, maybe it's coaching key team members, developing talent, not sitting in generalized update meetings all day.
Right. So the core of smart time investment is having the courage to look at that huge 80% of low-impact stuff.
The trivial many.
And actively decide. Eliminate it, delegate it, or severely limit the time you give it.
The goal has to be focus ruthlessly on the vital few.
But I imagine that's where it gets hard for most people. It takes mental energy just to figure out what to cut. It feels easier sometimes to just keep doing everything.
Oh, it's psychologically easier for sure. Because eliminating a task often means confronting some kind of fear, right?
Fear of missing out, FOMO.
Fear of missing out, fear of upsetting someone, maybe fear of letting go of control. And that is why the next step is so crucial, planning and architectural design. You can't focus on the vital few if your day isn't structured to protect that time.
So we go from identifying the 20% to actually building the structure.
Yeah.
Proactive structuring. Chapter 4 gives this incredible ratio.
Yeah, that one's powerful.
Every minute you spend planning saves you 10 minutes of execution. 10 times leverage.
It is. Because planning isn't just making a list, it's making decisions in advance.
Okay.
If you spend, say, 15 minutes really planning your next day, you could save, 150 minutes, 2.5 hours of wasted time debating what to do next, searching for stuff, reprioritizing constantly, dealing with preventable fires. When you don't plan, you just default to reacting.
And the sources are crystal clear about what happens then.
Yeah.
In default mode, chaos rushes in.
Absolutely.
If you don't plan your time, the world happily plans it for you. Your phone hijacks it. Other people's urgent but not important demands consume it.
And you lose control of your invisible currency completely.
So successful people, they approach each day like a mission, not just a random walk through tasks.
Like a mission, exactly, not a meandering journey. They design their day like an architect designs a building.
How so?
With vision, with structure, with predefined pillars. They know exactly which hours are walled off for that high-impact 20% work. They use techniques like time blocking.
Where you literally schedule tasks into calendar slots.
Right. Specific tasks in specific slots. Not just relying on those endless to-do lists, which honestly are a major culprit in promoting that feeling of busyness.
That's a key distinction, isn't it? Mission versus endless list. A list encourages frantic, box-ticking quantity. A mission focuses on completing the core objective.
And that architecture, it demands clarity, which leads directly to this really practical exercise the sources urge you, the listener, to try. Tonight.
Okay, what is it?
Don't write a list of 15 tasks for tomorrow. That's just overwhelming. It fuels the busyness cycle. Instead, write down only your top 3 priorities.
Just 3.
Just 3. 3 high-value items that, if you get them done, would make tomorrow a successful day. Period.
Why only 3? What's the magic in that number? Is it arbitrary?
It's about the underlying principle. Clarity beats chaos every single time. 3 forces you to focus. It demands allocation. It makes you be ruthless with that 80%.
Because if you aim for 10 or 20 things,
you inevitably scatter your energy, you do them all poorly, or you get distracted halfway through the really critical ones. 3 focused investments, executed well. That will always outperform 20 random low-value motions. Always.
that focus clarity, that's the structural pillar of the productive day, okay? But once we've identified the vital few and we've architected our day around them, the next big challenge is defense.
Absolutely.
Guarding that blueprint from all the enemies lurking in our daily lives.
Defense is completely non-negotiable. Chapter 5 in the sources, it explicitly names these enemies of time. 4 main thieves that steal our invisible currency, often so subtly we don't even notice, or we rationalize them away.
And if we don't actively guard against them, that carefully architected day just collapses.
Before lunch, usually.
Yeah. Okay, let's name these thieves. First one, probably the most obvious and everywhere, distractions.
Distractions are those instant gratification traps. And it's not just the phone notification popping up, it's the pull of that notification.
The urge.
The constant urge to check scores, read gossip, click on some meaningless entertainment, anything that gives that momentary dopamine hit, but breaks your essential flow state for deep work.
And the cost is huge, isn't it? Cognitive studies show it takes, what, over 20 minutes to get back to full focus after an interruption?
On average, yeah, over 20 minutes. Every single time.
That time debt just compounds incredibly fast over a day. Okay, thief number 2, procrastination. This feels less external, more internal sabotage.
Oh, it absolutely is internal sabotage. Procrastination is that classic waiting for the perfect moment.
That never actually comes.
Right. But the research suggests it's often not about laziness. It's more a failure of emotional regulation.
How so?
We put off the vital few, those important tasks, because they're often complex, difficult, maybe tied to a fear of failure. So procrastination is choosing the immediate comfort of delaying over the temporary discomfort of doing the hard work.
That's a really powerful way to frame it. Okay, third thief. This one surprised me a bit in a time management context. Negative people.
Yeah, it seems tangential, but they're energy drains disguised as social interaction.
Explain that.
These are the individuals who perpetually feed your doubts, who gossip incessantly. Maybe they require constant emotional support but offer nothing back. That emotional tax. It uses up cognitive resources. It takes time to recover from. It effectively steals hours from your productive reserves.
So you have to limit access, protect your currency from people who consistently devalue it.
You really do. And finally, the fourth thief, one that many people mistakenly think is a strategy for getting more done, multitasking.
The great modern myth.
Totally. The belief that doing more things at once means achieving more. But neurologically, it's just rapid context switching.
Your brain can't actually focus deeply on 2 complex things simultaneously.
No. Every switch incurs a cognitive penalty. It destroys deep focus, increases errors, and guarantees you end up doing 2 things poorly instead of 1 thing well. The sources are adamant. Single tasking is mandatory for high-value work.
Okay, so the mandate is clear. Protect our time the way a warrior protects his treasure. Love that image. But practically, if I've defined my top 3 priorities, how do I do that defense? Especially against other people's demands. How do you learn to say no without guilt?
This is where having some structured communication really becomes your shield. Saying no doesn't have to be harsh or confrontational. It's just setting a boundary.
So instead of just a flat no.
Yeah, you can offer a softer rejection, but one with a clear alternative or reason. Like, I really appreciate you thinking of me for this, but I can't take that on right now. I'm fully committed to finishing X priority. However, maybe I can help you find someone else. Or perhaps we could revisit this next week.
So you manage their expectations without letting them derail your most valuable time block.
Exactly. And physically, you have to silence the phone. Use apps or software to block distracting websites when you're in that deep work zone for your top 3 priorities. Guarding your focus isn't just nice to have, it's critical. The quality of your output totally depends on the depth of your concentration.
That defense, that guarding.
Yeah.
It allows us to make this really crucial distinction that seems to define success. The difference between spending time and investing time.
Yes, this distinction from Chapter 6 is really the absolute heart of the invisible currency idea. Spending time gives you that instant gratification.
The quick hit.
Right. The immediate consumable pleasure, binge watching a show, endless doom scrolling, passive entertainment. It satisfies the present self right now.
Okay.
Investing time, on the other hand, that requires discipline, often some sacrifice in the short term, but it yields exponential long-term growth.
So this would be things like reading a difficult but important book, actively learning a new skill that unlocks future opportunities.
Or maybe having that difficult but necessary conversation that strengthens a key relationship for the long haul.
Takes effort now, pays off later.
Exactly. And the garden analogy the sources use illustrates this perfectly. Time is your garden.
Okay.
If you choose to plant moments, wisely invest in seeds of growth, discipline, learning, that garden will flourish. It'll provide a beautiful, sustaining harvest down the road.
But if you just waste time, neglect the garden.
What happens? Weeds take over. Distraction, lack of growth, procrastination. They just fill the space where purpose should be growing.
The weeds are definitely easier to grow, aren't they? But the harvest is useless.
Precisely. Which makes the daily question for you, the listener, profoundly simple, but sometimes really hard to answer honestly. Is this action I'm about to take an investment in my future, or is it just a distraction for my present?
Oof. Answering that honestly forces real accountability minute by minute.
It does. It lets you see your schedule not just as a list of things you have to do, but as a portfolio of investments you choose to make.
Okay, now we follow all these rules. Identify the vital few, structure the time, defend it ruthlessly. A lot of listeners might think, okay, the secret is just working 18 hours a day, nonstop.
Right. Grind culture.
But the sources are really emphatic about integrating something else, something non-negotiable, into high-performance time management recovery.
Yes, Chapter 7 is such a necessary counterweight to all the focus on productivity. It stresses really clearly that using time wisely does not mean nonstop labor. In fact, true productivity includes rest.
Why is that?
Your mind, it's like any high-performance engine. It only operates at its peak when it's regularly maintained and recharged. Overworking just degrades the quality of your decisions, your output. It turns potential high-value work back into low-value motion because you're too tired to think clearly.
So rest isn't a luxury. It's not a reward you get after the work is done. It's actually a strategic part of the work itself.
Rest is strategy. It's not laziness. The successful mind knows when to deliberately disengage completely.
And the sources give examples.
Yeah, examples of successful people using active recovery methods. Things like dedicated meditation, maybe high-intensity exercise, scheduled time out in nature, or just totally disconnecting from digital inputs for a period.
And they distinguish that active recovery, which replenishes your cognitive batteries, from just passive consumption.
Crucially, passive consumption, like more scrolling or zoning out to TV, that's often just another form of spending time not recovering.
Right. So if I invest my time wisely all day, I can't then sabotage that investment by spending my evening passively consuming stuff that just drains my mental energy for tomorrow.
Exactly. A rested, energized mind makes better decisions, faster decisions. It learns better, retains information more effectively. It has the cognitive depth you need for that vital 20% of creative, high-impact work.
It comes back to that simple truth. You can't pour from an empty cup.
You really can't. Smart time management demands we schedule renewal time just as strictly as we schedule creation time.
Okay, so we've covered the currency itself, the strategy for using it, and the defense needed to protect it. Now let's get into the psychology, the actual time mindset. Chapter 8 talks about this, right? What separates those who master their 24 hours from those who feel trapped by them?
Yeah, the foundational difference really seems to be their relationship with immediacy. Successful people, they tend to act now.
A bias for action.
A bias for action, but a constructive urgency. They recognize that phrase, someday. Well, someday is code for never.
I like that.
They understand the planning fallacy that things always take longer than we think they will, and they fight it by starting right away, iterating, getting going.
But that urgency, it's balanced with a long-term focus, isn't it? They're not just reactive. They're optimizing for the long game.
Absolutely. They consistently prioritize long-term gain over short-term pleasure. That's the core discipline.
So choosing the hard learning program over the easy entertainment tonight.
Or making the disciplined choice to save and invest money instead of splurging right now. They can tolerate that short-term discomfort because they know they're building exponential returns for their future self.
And maybe the most important mindset shift is how they measure their day. The busy person counts activities. The successful person measures impact.
Exactly. They look back at the day and ask, did I complete my top 3 priorities? Did I move the needle on my vital 20%?
They're not impressed by just being busy.
Not at all. Not by how long they sat at the desk or how many emails they cleared. Their internal scoreboard is about value delivered, goals advanced. For them, time is this amazing tool for creation and leverage.
Not a trap set by endless demands and low-value stuff.
Yeah, a trap.
And this mindset, this is what allows them to go beyond the theory and actually start designing your ideal day. That's chapter 9, where the architecture really comes to life.
Yeah, and the ideal day, it's not some fantasy wish list. It's a design specification for your best self.
A blueprint.
It's the proactive construction of a repeatable 24-hour cycle that maximizes your energy, your focus, your impact. And this design, it typically includes some non-negotiable elements.
What kind of elements? What defines an ideal day based on the research?
Well, it often starts right at the beginning. Successful people tend to engineer their first hour, often waking up early.
The miracle morning idea.
Something like that. Dedicating that first block of time to personal power activities. Moving your body exercise. Strengthening your mind learning, maybe meditation. And setting your intention, reviewing those top 3 priorities for the day.
Setting the trajectory early.
Exactly. Then the day is often blocked out for deep work during their peak energy hours, followed by designated time for connecting with people, creating, and handling those necessary but lower impact maintenance tasks.
So the goal, the feeling they're aiming for at the end of the day, it's not exhaustion, it's fulfillment.
Fulfillment. Feeling satisfied with the deliberate investments made, not just drained from reacting all day.
Okay, but for the listener who's hearing this, looking at their current chaotic reality, it can feel overwhelming. How do you bridge that gap? How do you get from chaos to this architectural ideal?
The source prescription is always the same. Incremental progress. You don't overhaul your entire life overnight. That rarely sticks.
Start small.
Start small. Maybe just wake up 30 minutes earlier tomorrow. Dedicate those 30 minutes to one single high-value personal investment reading, exercising, planning. That's it.
Or maybe commit just one focused hour a day.
Yes. Commit one protected, focused hour daily to something that moves you closer to your most important dream or goal, something separate from your immediate job demands.
And that 1 hour, it compounds, doesn't it? That's the difference between just linear effort and exponential growth over time.
Absolutely. Those small, consistently repeated, high-value hours, they turn into massive, visible progress over months, over a year. That incremental progress turns into success. It's about being just 1% better today than yesterday, protecting that little sliver of investment time and letting the power of compounding take over.
Which brings us, finally, to the ultimate connection. We have to link all of this, the decisions about notifications, the choices about planning, prioritizing rest, to the biggest consequence of how we spend this invisible currency, time and legacy. Chapter 10. Why does it all matter in the end?
Because the final accounting, when you look back, reviews where the true value really was. The sources often reflect on end-of-life regrets.
And what are they?
People rarely regret the money they didn't make, or the emails they didn't answer, or the low-impact tasks they skipped. Their deepest regrets almost always center on the time they wasted.
Wasted how?
The moments they postponed living fully, the relationships they didn't nurture deeply enough, the dreams they never chased because they kept telling themselves someday.
It's the regret of a life lived passively, reactively, instead of one actively created.
So the real purpose of valuing your minutes isn't just about being hyper-efficient at work. It's about living consciously, using time not just to exist, but to create, serve, and grow in ways that genuinely align with your deepest values.
That feels like the highest level of time mastery.
It really is. Success, in that final, ultimate context, isn't measured by how long you lived your age. It's measured by how wisely you lived. And that wisdom is demonstrated every single day by where you choose to put that most precious, non-renewable currency.
Hashtag outro.
Wow. Okay, this has been a really essential deep dive, I think, into the true nature, the true cost of our minutes. If you take, say, 3 things away from this conversation, maybe let them be these. First, really shift your focus. Move away from busyness, just activity, and onto impact, actual results.
Measure what matters.
Second, use that 80-20 principle ruthlessly as your filter. Focus your best energy on the vital few things that give you the highest return. Eliminate or minimize the rest.
The trivial many. Be brave enough to cut them.
And finally, remember that mandate. Structure your day with intention like an architect, and guard your focus like treasure. Consciously ask yourself, am I spending this minute for instant gratification or investing it for long-term growth? Yeah, the core message running through all the sources is relentless. Time is the ultimate test of your priorities. It truly is. If you want to know what you really value, just look at your calendar. Look at your daily choices. Audit where that non-renewable currency is actually flowing.
It tells the real story.
It does. Invest wisely in your growth, eliminate the noise, and live consciously, by design, not by default.
And let's leave you, our listener, with one final provocative thought, something to mull over, building on this idea of memory and legacy.
Yeah.
If time, once it's gone, instantly becomes memory, and those accumulated memories, they become the story of your life, your legacy.
Yeah.
Then think about time as memory. What specific high-value investment should you start making today?
We talk a lot about career goals, skills, finances. But what time investment can you make right now that ensures your personal memory portfolio? The story you'll look back on is rich, meaningful, and truly reflects a life lived with purpose and intention.
It's a powerful question because every single second counts. Make yours a conscious investment.